The Philadelphia 76ers are an absolute disaster. In the blink of an eye, they went from playoff contenders to the bottom of the barrel, no thanks to their glorious superstar, Joel Embiid, who looks like he'll never be fully healthy ever again. Also, no thanks to Paul George, who Daryl Morey signed to a ludicrous 4-year, $200+ million contract. Yeah, that's $50 million per year for an old, washed-up Paul George, whose body is also breaking down.
And Paul George able to keep it in play, and Paul George hurt himself. George, who missed the start of the season, the first 5 games with a left knee bone bruise.
It was a last-ditch effort to inject some talent into the roster and salvage whatever hope they had left. It turns out this last-ditch attempt has failed, and the Sixers tumbled towards the bottom of the standings. This whole Sixers process has failed over the years and resulted in not a single appearance past the second round of the playoffs. While you expect a team like this, with several horrendous contracts, to be in a terrible position to build for the future, it's not as bad as you think. Unlike other teams with washed-up stars, the Sixers have accumulated several quality young draft prospects over the years with incredible potential.
Maxey fires! He's got it! Tie game!
Tyrese Maxey came out of nowhere as the 21st overall pick, but developed into a top 5, maybe even top 3 player of his draft class. And then there's Jared McCain, an unceremonious 16th overall pick in the 2024 draft, a class that's been considered as the weakest in a long time. Collectively, this is the worst start to a rookie class I've ever seen. But the frontrunner for Rookie of the Year is well deserving of that title, and it's not who you'd expect. Let's take a look at why 15 teams passed on Jared McCain, the most exhilarating yet overlooked prospect of the 2024 draft class. But before we start, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, SeatGeek. This NBA season is off to an amazing start, and what better way to get in on the action than watching your favorite players in person with my favorite ticket platform. It's time to start booking your tickets. SeatGeek pulls every ticket from the web into one app, with each ticket rated from a scale of 1 to 10. Green dots are good, while red dots are bad. Most importantly, every ticket you purchase is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, you know I'm not going to end a sponsorship without a deal for you guys. Use my promo code ANDYHOOPS10 for 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek. Whether you're a new customer or not, it doesn't have to be just basketball games either. You can use my code to get tickets for concerts, festivals, other sports, whatever you want. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app today and add code ANDYHOOPS10 to your account. Do it now because this is a limited time offer.
Straight delirium in Durham because of the rookie.
Back and forth we have gone. Jared spinning to his left, fading away. McCain with 27. McCain!
Like with most unknown rookies, Jared McCain saw limited minutes in his first several NBA games. It wasn't until the injuries started really hitting the Sixers when he finally got the chance. He finally got inserted into the starting lineup to show what he was capable of. And oh, he showed that, and more. Jared McCain actually broke an NBA record. Well, he broke several records. He hit the most three-pointers out of any player in history in their first 5 starts, with 24 three-pointers made. He also set the NBA rookie record with 8 consecutive games of making at least 3 threes per game. Needless to say, McCain is an absolute sniper, a sharpshooter who's always been known for his jump shot ever since he was in high school. At the same time, he was also a guy who nobody even cared about on draft night. I mean, to be fair, the 2024 draft was a class of players who most folks did not care about. Even the first 2 picks, Zachary Risachet and Alex Sarr, were projected to be serviceable role players, at best. And if you look at how their rookie seasons began, they're just barely serviceable. Zach Edey of Purdue probably got the most hype, mostly due to his sheer size and dominance at Purdue. For Jared McCain, who seems like he came out of nowhere, his journey to the NBA was more prominent than you think it was. Not too long ago, he was once considered as California's best prospect. A high school state champion, a consensus 5-star recruit, ranked by ESPN in the top 10 among all prospects of his class, with several offers to prestigious D1 schools like Kansas, Gonzaga, and of course, Duke. On paper, he seemed like the perfect fit for the modern landscape of the NBA. A pure shooter with decent size and strength who can shoot well in all situations, catch and shoot, dribble handoffs, off screens, combined with an ever so improving offensive repertoire, as he showed the capability to create his own shots off the dribble too. Except there were various quirks that caused McCain's value to drop over time. For one, check this out. You remember how I said he had good size? Well, in high school, McCain was officially listed at 6'4". At that size, it's a tad small for a shooting guard, but it's not bad. But in college, his height was then changed to 6'3", and then, right before the NBA draft, at the Combine, he was officially measured at 6'2" barefoot. In the photos with his teammate Tyrese Maxey, who's also listed at 6'2", it seems like McCain is the same height as him. So I guess 6'2" is his actual height, which is way too small for a shooting guard. Which, in combination with his short wingspan of only 6'3.5", Jared McCain was projected to really struggle at the NBA level due to his lack of size and length. He wasn't the most athletic guy either. There were questions of, will he even be able to get his shot off in the NBA? People like to point out that Donovan Mitchell is also a small shooting guard who found success, but Mitchell also has a gargantuan 6'10" wingspan, which more than makes up for his lack of height. For McCain, his lack of height and length was a major concern, with one scout even mentioning, quote, "He will struggle to score at the rim against any kind of length." When scouts realized he was indeed 6'2" and not 6'4" like originally thought, and with a wingspan shorter than expected, his draft value tanked. Regardless, that did not stop him from flourishing in college. McCain's projection as a one-dimensional shooter was crushed. He looked like a complete offensive player, not only with his accurate jump shots, but he had a nice offensive bag that helped him score in every angle in every area of the court. The best way to describe McCain would be a ticking time bomb, ready to go off at any moment. When he gets on a heater, he just keeps going. When he's hot, there's no cooling this dude off. He even tied the Duke freshman record for most points scored in a single game, tying Zion Williamson with 35 points against Florida State. But it got even better. When Duke entered the NCAA tournament, McCain dropped 2 more 30-plus point games, showing an uncanny ability to score at a level we never thought he was capable of.
Spin, shot clock winding down. Can McCain make it happen? Yes, he can! How about that runner? Oh.
While the best NCAA prospects that year who attracted all the attention were centers, here comes Jared McCain, who popped off in the most important tournament of the year. More impressively, it's his efficiency that stands out. He shot over 40% from 3, and the most important part, he shot nearly 90% on his free throws. Why exactly is his free throw percentage so important? Well, according to several studies now, a player's free throw percentage in college is the most accurate, best indicator of how good of a shooter he'll be in the NBA. Apparently, most players who are great free throw shooters in college end up translating into great shooters in the NBA, as free throws are the best way to evaluate a player's mechanics and form. The players with the best mechanics will see their shooting translate to the pros very well. Even with all of his success and all of his strengths, he left Duke after 1 year, and his draft stock really did not improve at all. In fact, it diminished even further. Despite his success in college, his inconsistency issues were brought up. In particular, games where he didn't shoot well, he had zero impact on helping his team win. When he's on a cold streak, oh, he's ice cold. Questions arise on what he can contribute when his shot isn't falling. His shooting touch was also a point of criticism, as the scouts suggested he rework his shooting motion, since it was kinda slow. And for a guy of his size, he needed a quicker release to get it off against NBA-level defense. At least that's what the thought process was for why so many teams passed on him. This brings us to the 2024 draft.
And with the 16th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Jared McCain from Duke University.
In a class filled with players who were raw and uncertain, it was the perfect time for teams to take a chance with a high draft pick. If you look at all 15 players picked ahead of him, not even half of them accomplished more prior to the NBA than McCain has done. But most of them were deemed as having more potential simply due to either their size or their physical attributes, which McCain lacks. However, there are two other aspects of the game that are highly important for an NBA shooting guard to master: perimeter defense and playmaking. While McCain has shown he could playmake, that wasn't a strong part of his game before. In 32 minutes a game at Duke, McCain averaged fewer than 2 assists per game. He was primarily used as a spot-up shooter, but dabbled in his pick-and-roll game too. When he did get the ball and tried to create a play, it would always be for himself. He didn't have the court vision to reliably hit his teammates, so he preferred to shoot it himself. Statistically, he was quite good at that too, scoring 1.18 points per possession as the pick-and-roll ball handler, ranking in the 80th percentile. He also hit 42% of his catch-and-shoot threes, ranking in the 88th percentile. His playmaking, however, was still a mystery coming into the draft, just because there wasn't a huge sample size of his passing ability. According to Rylan Stiles of Sports Illustrated, he gave a critique of McCain's defense. Quote, "His lateral quickness does not project to be able to keep up with NBA athletes. Sometimes it does not stand up to college athletes. At times, McCain gets lost on switches, or just is not able to fight through contact on screens. Needing to hide a player on that end of the floor at a premier position off the bench is not ideal, though not impossible." That's not one, but two major red flags right there. A small, undersized shooting guard who simply is too slow or too lethargic to defend at the NBA level, combined with his unproven playmaking skills. McCain was considered a boom or bust prospect. In most cases, players of his build and skill set failed in the NBA. So there were 6 guards drafted ahead of him: Reed Sheppard, Steph Castle, Rob Dillingham, Nikola Topic, Devin Carter, and Bub Carrington. Prior to the draft, all of them have shown either better playmaking or better defense, or both. McCain wasn't even considered the best shooter. That would be Reed Sheppard. So he really wasn't any team's first pick as a guard. All things considered, him dropping to 16th overall isn't a huge surprise, and nobody could expect he'd be the frontrunner for Rookie of the Year. So far, he has scored much more than any of his peers. Just in terms of points, it's not even close. McCain has pulled far ahead of any other rookie. However, as great as he's been, it's just as much a matter of circumstance. At the surface, the Sixers are in a disastrous situation. Your franchise superstar basically looks like he'll never recover, and your secondary star who's not only overpaid, but also injured and washed. This forced the Sixers to go in a different direction, and with more touches to go around now, they inserted McCain into the starting lineup. If their stars never got injured, perhaps he would have never gotten this chance to begin with. But you know what they always say: when opportunity presents itself, don't be afraid to go after it.
Defense just to offer up a little resistance. Get your hands up.
McCain was asking for it in the corner. Jared McCain making it rain in South Philly tonight.
McCain's rise to relevance has been a breath of fresh air for a Sixers organization desperately looking for something to cheer for. It's not just his on-court brilliance either, but his personality. This dude exemplifies positivity, along with a level-headed demeanor. He's the perfect player to be a core piece of the franchise moving forward. Besides his incredible scoring prowess, he displayed a high level of playmaking that we never saw from him before. He already recorded more games of 4 or more assists than his entire freshman season at Duke. Perhaps he's not the most explosive athlete, or the biggest guy, or even the best shooter out there, but he finds so many ways to impact the game now, and his name is being talked about across the league. In every team's scouting report, they need to pay attention to this kid, to Jared McCain. Thank you all so much for watching. What are your thoughts on the Sixers' future looking forward? McCain has been the only bright spot on an otherwise failure of a season. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on him and this entire rookie class. Can you see him winning Rookie of the Year, or is this just a temporary thing? Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.